Hello, Miss Ballinger.
Mr. Gumm.
How are you doing?
I'm just fine. How are you?
I'm doing well, and welcome. Hopefully you guys are doing well today. This is another episode of Beyond the Screen. This is the fourth
Fourth that we've recorded.
Fourth week in a row, at least, that we've recorded. So welcome. You guys are catching us in our stride.
Yeah, this is probably our maybe 15th podcast or something
In
like
a
that.
year, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, it's a good start, man.
We've been recording a lot, so
In 30 years, people are going to look back and be like, this was the start.
yeah,
We're going to get picked up by like Letterboxd or something and have a long-running show.
an empire, really.
Yeah.
A media empire.
Yeah.
Because I plan on starting a production company when I graduate.
Yeah.
So big things in the world of media production for sure.
Yeah.
And just content creation.
So stick around from Beyond the Screen. Can you imagine we both make it big in the world of cinema, and you as a fan were here to watch us discuss film news and just be stupid?
Our 10 fans.
Yeah, all 10 of them.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for all you 10. We love you.
And the 10 fans that we have like class with you.
Yeah.
So I'll see you guys in class.
Yeah. Big smooches coming your way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or even more.
Well, yeah. And I'll leave it to that to let you insinuate what even more means. Could just be just an extra kiss goodnight. Anyway,
Not that.
moving on. We have a lot of news to talk about. This week has been a very, very hectic week in the world of Hollywood and TV and all that sort. So we're going to change it up a little bit because we've always done the film news, but instead of us just kind of harping on a bunch of little things and then getting to the big thing at the very end and having to rush because we're out of time, we will do the miscellaneous news, kind of the non-connectedness, and we'll go off on our little tangents first and then have more time at the end for the bigger things to discuss because there's a lot of them, and I'm curious about your input. So first off, Gladiator 2, starring Paul Mescal, will release in November of 2024.
Do we have a Ridley Scott director seat?
I think he's in the seat. I don't think you can have Gladiator without Ridley Scott. Like, I just don't think. But I will... Let me make sure of that real quick because I want to verify and double check. Yes, Ridley Scott is in the director's seat. I thought he was. And the Gladiator verse stays intact. Moving on. We've got a lot of James Gunn and Peter Safran events happening. Not only last week did we discuss the multitude of Chapter 1 news that they broke, but also now James Gunn, well, first off, I'll say he will likely write and direct Superman Legacy, which seems to be very vitally important to the rest of the story. So it makes a lot of sense that James was like, I'll do it myself, because you don't really want to leave while you being the head of it, you want to hire the right creative minds. If you are that kind of creative mind like James Gunn, you probably don't want to put someone else's vision over yours. You know, you just kind of want to get it kickstarted correctly. So I understand. But Gunn and Safran have kind of put their foot in their mouth recently. So I don't know if you've seen, they've said a lot about the old DCEU and the old regime that was there. So they have found themselves in hot water with Warner Brothers executives because they had, like I said, they had that brutally honest comment this past week, maybe about a week and a half. Gunn stated straight up that the old heads at DC were giving away IP like they were party favors at any creator who smiled at them. And Safran kind of pitching in on the side, adding that the Batgirl film was just completely not releasable. It just was awful, which was kind of already known, but that Safran not helping his case either. The problem therein lies, okay? A bunch of the execs currently at Warner Brothers were in the old regime.
Yeah.
And they are not happy with Gunn and Safran, kind of poking the bear a little bit.
Just openly talking shit
About their own bosses.
Yeah.
So according to a THR report, there have been quite a few ruffled feathers.
Say so.
Bro, they've been on the job 2 months.
They're already throwing
haymakers.
spitting venom.
I just want to know, like, how like hot is their seat, number one, but how protected do they think their jobs are?
It seems like their jobs are pretty protected.
They just got it though, and this is like DC just changed a bunch of stuff, and it's not even gotten underway yet. Like, this is like their feet are not set, so it's not like it's hard to just uproot them.
None of these projects are like filming, are they?
No.
Yeah, these are all pre.
The only thing that's coming out are the things that were coming out from the old regime still. Yeah. Like, apparently he's like written and outlined, or I say Gunn and Safran have written and outlined the first 2 chapters, I think I saw somewhere. but like none of it's being like in production. They don't even have any casting done yet. So it's pretty audacious for Gunn and Safran just to be like, yeah, these people suck, and these people are their bosses.
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing, man?
Well, I think that since they're already slated to do like 10 films. Like, it seems like there's some job security there.
I hope so because, well, not gonna lie, the meme of them being fired because they just couldn't shut their mouths before they got anything done is kind of funny.
It's funny.
That would be
It's very James Gunn.
Yes, like if he were to get fired for any reason, this would be the way, and I would laugh. I love James Gunn, but
it seems like he can't stay away from controversy though.
Mm-mm. No, and here's the thing too. I wonder if this is pushback because it was released that he wasn't even their first choice. Their first choice was Matt Reeves, I think. Like if I remember correctly, they begged Matt Reeves,
which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because like you want Robert Pattinson to be in the DC universe, but he's not. Like he's now underneath the Elseworlds, which I like a lot. I like that they can still create content outside of the DCU without affecting things.
Wow, it's just crazy to me that we have 3 DC universes that are kind of in play right now. We have the old DCEU, we have the Reeves Batman verse,
yeah,
and now we have the James Gunn stuff.
Yeah, well,
it's convoluted, and it seems like we just kind of need to get the Reeves stuff out of the way and then just really dive into the new DCEU, because right now it just seems like we're in this weird purgatory middle place.
Yeah, and I think that's what's kind of happening. Like, I think, well, what's really getting purged out is the Snyder stuff, like the old DCEU. Like, there's a bunch of, like, Cavill's not coming back, and the Flash is resetting everything. So it's like, I do think that the cash cow that is the Reeves Batverse won't stop anytime soon. But like I said, it'll stay under that Elseworlds moniker, which like it is convoluted, but at least now there's more lanes to kind of dictate what's what. So speaking of Elseworlds, this is going to be the last thing I have for DC. Constantine 2 starring Keanu Reeves is still happening despite the seismic shift in Warner Brothers that have happened in the last 2 or 3 months. And this film will be underneath, obviously, as we're describing, the DC Elseworlds moniker. And it will not impact the Gunn Safran story arcs. Did you see the first Constantine? See, I haven't either, but it's like a cult classic.
People like it. Yeah,
Constantine seems like a pretty cool entity to me. Like I forget he's part of DC. Every time that I see his character, I'm like, he fights demons and that sort of thing. And then it's always brought up like he's a superhero, and I'm like, that's right.
Yeah, he's not really a superhero.
He's not, but he's there.
Yeah.
He's Keanu. He's Keanu Reeves. Like, I'm kind of excited. I want to go back and watch the first one.
I'd like to see it. Shoots fire, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I just think that these DC movies need to get back to where they every now and then they meet Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Like Batman, Matt Reeves. Like maybe he could
run into Shaggy.
The Harlem Globetrotters.
Bro, bring back Matthew Lillard to play Shaggy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, imagine it's like Batman, Matt Reeves, 2020 or whatever, 2021. Batman meets Scooby-Doo 2024.
Dude, all I'm imagining is like you hear the footsteps and you hear the don 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 from the Nirvana song that they play, and all of a sudden
something's in my but it's Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Looks up and it's just Matthew Lillard like zoinks, like and it's like that would be awesome.
Jinkies.
I agree. That's something that needs to happen. You want to bring back make a cinematic universe. We already know Shaggy's got like infinite amounts of power. He just uses 0.2% and like the world is just gone. Yeah. Have you seen those memes?
Oh,
they're old now, but like
they're really old. They were like big when I was in high school.
They were my favorites.
Yeah.
I still look at them sometimes. No lie.
Like the behind the scenes.
Yes. His Matthew Lillard, his eyes are red and shining. He's like he's like deep fried. And it's just like I used 100% of my power. Or he didn't say that, but those were good times.
Good memes.
Yeah. So moving off, it's time to move on past Justin Roiland. That is the next news. It's time to move off DC. Have you heard the Justin Roiland? Obviously, you had to have seen something. What do you give me what you've seen? I want to know. Okay, so Roiland and Dan Harmon, the co-creators of Rick and Morty, apparently they had a falling out after season 3 years ago, and they just haven't budged in their argument. Like they haven't talked, or they have talked and tried to work it out, but they haven't like had common ground for years now. And since then, according to the Hollywood Reporter, Roiland hasn't had, quote, any meaningful creative presence on the show since then.
Because he's too busy, what, with underage girls?
I don't know. I don't understand. So they have this falling out at season 3. Since season 3, Roiland has no creative presence outside of voice acting, right? So he hasn't had a writing credit since season 3. So since around this fallout, this happens, Roiland's behavior has been more and more erratic, leading up to the domestic violence charge and his subsequent firing. And he would become absent from the show's production and creative work, even outside of like the voice acting. He would just show up and just voice act the lines written for him and then leave, with his name still as the co-creator. So much so that a bunch of his now ex-coworkers at Adult Swim hadn't heard from him in years. The only way that they knew he was in the office was they would hear his dogs barking or hear his toy car driving down the hallway.
Sounds like the guy that created Rick and Morty.
Yeah, but he wouldn't talk to them. He would just be like, you just hear the car and some dogs barking in the background, and they'd be like, Justin's in.
Sounds just problematic. Needs to go.
No, yeah. Well, so Dan Harmon also has a history of being kind of problematic. Like he's confrontational. So have you heard any of the stories of his time on Community? So Dan Harmon also created. Have you seen Community?
That's the one with
that had Chevy
Childish
Chase
Gambino.
And yeah. Now that you said Childish Gambino, I cannot think. Donald
I've
Glover.
I heard that Chevy Chase said the N-word on set.
Donald Glover. Yeah, that was a big reason for. So Dan Harmon and Chevy Chase had big problems on that show because so Dan Harmon did not like Chevy, so he wrote the character that he played in the show to be him. And if you've ever seen the show, you will know that his character is the worst human being on the planet. Like he is racist, he is homophobic, but like I hate to say it, like it's not funny, but like that's like he's joking. Like that's what he's like. That's the whole point. And Chevy hated the character because he knew that Dan Harmon wrote it for him because he based it off his personality.
Yeah.
So like there was a huge falling out. In fact, Chase left the show like late in the series.
They removed him.
Yes,
they made his character die.
Yes, like I don't know if he died, but he was no longer on the show. And yeah, Dan Harmon's not like perfect, but the fact that Justin Roiland like outshines him in terms of a crappy human and confrontational says a lot. Like here's the thing too, as a creative, and I want your opinion on this. I want you to like give me your deep thoughts. How can you? This is your passion project. Like this is like your career right now. Like you created these characters. Like when I'm writing and I create characters, they're like my babies. They're my children. I know them inside and out. Like I know, even if it's a comedy, like these aren't just people that like I make up. These are like a part of me. I just can't imagine falling out of it like that and just not caring about what direction creatively it goes.
Especially if it was met with such success.
Yeah.
You know?
Like people love your characters, like you and Dan Harmon. Even like say me and you had a falling out, but we created this really successful show. I'd be doing everything in my power for us to stay friends at the very least, to try to make it work because that's that's essentially our kids.
Think about the fans and the cultural significance of the thing.
So I just don't understand how he could just fall out and not care anymore. Like I don't know. I'd comment on that. Like what do you think?
I mean, I don't know. Some people are just little.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a personality thing. He doesn't seem to have a very good personality at all. I've seen him talk on camera. I've seen interviews and stuff, and he seems just to be kind of like one of those guys that would be prone to kind of not caring like that.
Almost like childish.
Yeah, childish. And the show is childish.
It's
pseudo-intellectual garbage, really. I mean, it's fun, for sure. I've seen, 6, 7, 8 episodes. I haven't watched the whole thing at all, but I mean, yeah, it's interesting. The jokes aren't funny to me.
Really?
No. Because like you have other like the adult comedy shows, like two that come to mind are The Simpsons, the old Simpsons, and Futurama, which had like PhDs working on the show, like extremely smart people.
Like, and the jokes are smart. Like,
yeah,
they're dumb for sure, but like,
well, they're dumb in a way that satirizes, mundane life.
Yes.
That's where the dumbness is not like accidental.
Yeah.
With these shows, but I think with the dumbness with the dopiness of Rick and Morty is like not really intentional because they're trying really hard to be smart.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it doesn't. It's not jokes about philosophy or science. It's jokes about like Star Trek science. You know? We got to get to the flux capacitor, to the Gorbatron 3000 or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know much about Rick and Morty, but it's just not for me.
See, I kind of I'm in the same boat. Like, I've watched a little bit of it, and it is funny. But, like, so I have a problem with, like, when creators feel like they have to, like, hold a audience's hand to get jokes or to get, like, a point.
Yeah.
Even, like, this doesn't pertain to strictly comedy. But, like, when things are over-explained all the time. Or when, like, so, like, recently in one of our classes, we were talking about before the recording, I'm in a class called Dramatic Literature, and it's about the stage, but it pertains to the same point. We recently screened a theatrical production of one of the plays we read, and it's a Henrik Ibsen play called Hedda Gabler. And the whole point is that the titular character, the title character Hedda, she has no control over her life. Like, she's got a very, very, very sad, very boring life. She's the daughter of a general, and she kind of like she settled for her marriage, and everyone around her just tries to take advantage of her and like tries to get one up. Like, we're talking about one-upsmanship, and it's just like. It's a very subtle commentary. I won't spoil the end because she does something very, very like outlandish at the end. But I don't know. It's just like the play version. It's a modern take on it, and it's the same story. But the play version, it's too on the nose. Like, it's too like, oh, this is happening. Like she's physically assaulted on stage, and in the play, that's just not what happened. Like, she was like mentally anguished. And in the play, like in this version of it, they are saying the same lines, but he's spitting tomato juice on her, and it's like that's just not like it's too on the nose. Mm-hmm. And I feel like for Rick and Morty, it's like they try too hard to be like burp funny.
Why?
Yeah, like
why is it funny?
There's no point. And so and I don't know. Here's the thing too is that the show, back to kind of like the news of it. The show has been reportedly, like, the story goes through season 10, or it's, like, promised that they'd go to season 10 or something like that. And the characters are easily manipulated, they're easily replicated. So it's not like they need Justin Roiland. Yeah. Like, I've seen, as soon as he was fired, like, I flipped the comments as, you know, a nosy person does, and everyone's like, how are you going to have the show without Justin Roiland? He's literally the main characters. And it's like...
They're voice actors.
I scroll through TikTok or Instagram, and I promise you the third or fourth one of every scroll, like rotation, is another person doing a good Rick and Morty impersonation. Yeah. It's not hard. Like, I'm sure if I had 2 weeks, I could probably figure out Rick.
People never nail Rick. They get Morty really easily.
Yeah.
But Rick is a bit harder.
Yeah, because he's more gravelly. Yeah. But like I said Rick, I meant Morty. Like, if you give me 2 weeks, I could probably do a pretty decent Morty. He's not hard. Like
2 weeks?
Maybe. Don't hold me to that.
How many hours a day are you practicing?
Well, it depends. I'm a busy man, but you give me 2 or 3 hours a day, like reliably 2 or 3. I'm not saying like intense. I'm not like gym montage of me being like, oh, like you know, I'm not doing that. But like, you give me 2 or 3 sporadic hours throughout the day for me to just like listen and try to replicate, like mimic. I could probably do it.
Give me a line to say in Morty.
I don't know. Well, what he freaks out all the time about, I don't know, outlandish scenarios.
Rick!
Yeah.
These outlandish scenarios!
There you go, yeah. I'll give,
yeah.
You want to try it?
I'm like 70% of the way there.
You want to try the challenge? 2 weeks? See what happens?
Yeah. 2 weeks, we practice between 2 and 3 hours a day.
See, I can't say that I'm going to do it, but if you want to help us, if you want to at home practice being Rick and Morty so that Adult Swim might look at us and hire us for a job because we're both graduating college. Yeah, send me money and I'll make the voice. I'll do the thing. My
Venmo is Cole-Ballinger-1.
You heard it.
And my Cash App is Sweet Daddy Pimpin'.
Yeah, so you heard both. Sweet Daddy Pimpin'. We'll also start a Patreon.
That'd be cool.
We may or may not upload to, but you can still give us money for.
We could upload lewd photographs.
See, that's called OnlyFans, and we're not doing that. But what we can do, on a serious note, Patreon, we start a production company, and you subscribe to the Patreon, and you get kind of like the behind the scenes, like the early storyboards and like behind the scene videos of the film being made or whatever projects being made. That's not a bad idea.
Not too bad. Like, if I was to start a production company, like maybe a Patreon would be good for people to maybe get roles. Like
Honestly, yeah.
I'll give my extra roles away to my Patreon subscribers.
See, like, I know Wendigoon. I'll talk about him a lot later because he kind of, that creator is important to one of the big news that we're talking about later. But he is actually doing a film. Did you know this?
I did not know
He is
this.
creating his own film. He's a producer,
Wow.
and he's making it with another big creator. And it's Kickstarter backed, I think. It's got like, it's fan backed, and it looks fantastic. And
What's the film?
I don't remember what it's about, but it looks nitty gritty. I think it's not the apocalypse, but like it looks like post-apocalyptic type of stuff, like the stills they've released. And I'm excited for it. Like I don't like they talk about they're gonna try to get it in theaters. I think I could be wrong. I could have made that up, but like that's a good way to go. Like get a Kickstarter and then have a Patreon on the side that's like get the behind the scenes, but the Kickstarter's like to finance the film directly with sponsors.
Well, you have to be Wendigoon first.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Wendigoon
has a lot of
also
fans.
has, I think, 2 million subs and is like the face of what side of YouTube is he on? The Supernatural.
Yeah, supernatural internet mysteries.
Yes,
too.
but also like he's into ARGs and like today, like the thing I'm going to discuss later is the Five Nights at Freddy's news, and like the reason that I bring him up is because he did a whole deep dive of like the rough story of what it could be, and it's like he does that kind of stuff. ARGs. Yeah, watch Wendigoon.
ARGs,
Those are
they
great.
kind of hurt me to watch because I just want them to be real. Like the idea that like, oh well, none of this is real. This is
They're
just
too
a passion
cool.
project. Yeah, it's too cool.
Yeah,
Like I wish this was real.
but they're a treasure trove for creative stuff. Like
They really are. They really are. They're some of the best creativity I've ever seen has been in ARGs.
So speaking of ARGs, this is a perfect transition to our next topic of discussion. A feature film based around the YouTube ARG The Backrooms is in production at A24. And I was super excited about this. Like I saw this, I don't remember which account it was, but it had like the cool picture of the monster in the backrooms. I was like, yes! And then I saw who was executive producing it. And I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of let down already. James Wan and Sean Levy.
Yeah.
They're not scary. Like James
not.
Wan is like he had a good one. He did listen. The first Conjuring is scary.
Yeah, but
Like
the rest.
it's scary. Good job, James. But every film after that is just jump scares. Cheap jump scares.
I mean, Insidious, right?
Insidious is okay. You got me there. Insidious. But like outside of Insidious, the first Insidious and the first Conjuring, maybe Insidious 2. He's not scary. Have you seen Megan? We talked about Megan not that long ago. Megan's not scary.
You know, he made the first Saw movie.
Was he a part of that?
He was the director.
Really?
Yeah.
Did not know that. See,
Which
James,
Saw has a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. Saw.
that's a crime.
That is stupid. Well, the audience score is 84 because everyone loves Saw.
Yeah. Like James Wan, like he has an illustrious history. Like he is good. But dude, like I do not trust him to make this film. I don't. Like I'll trust him to make an Insidious. I'll trust him to make like a spooky haunting, ooh, or girl's doll kills people, ooh, like whatever. Like Megan wasn't a bad movie. It's just not scary. And the whole thing about
Malignant.
yes,
Not scary.
Have you seen any of the ARG of the Backrooms?
Yeah, I've seen it all.
It's fantastic, and it's so deep in lore, and it's so wonderfully put, and I love it. Like just the idea that there is just these portals that we opened up accidentally, and now it's just sucking people in, and there are these unspeakable horrors down there, and it's just so cool, right?
I remember the inception of the Backrooms. I remember when the only Backrooms content that was popular on social media was like the original Backrooms 4chan post.
Really.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't around for that. I got into it like after the ARG blew up, which was well after the Backrooms conceptualized, around the internet. The Backrooms has been a thing for a long time.
It was a lot scarier when there were no entities.
Yeah.
To me, the idea that you are in the Backrooms alone and there's no variation, there are no levels.
Yeah.
You know, you're not level 87 like ball pit room or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, the whole idea that you're in just an endless maze of yellowing drywall.
Yeah.
Like, and you're just screaming and running.
You just no clip
can't
through
get out.
reality.
Yeah. Yeah, that's more interesting to me than
I don't know. It's like I just love the idea because like
Clown
the whole
room.
point of like the creatures in the Backrooms is that they're trying to replicate us. Like that's like the whole point, and I think that's freaky. Like why? Like the unanswered questions. I don't want them to be answered. To be quite frank, Do not answer that question. Do not say that it's some alien species trying to invade. Don't say that it's the demon or the devil trying to come up and, like the Antichrist is in the back rooms. Don't do that. Just let me know nothing. Just if you want to keep expanding the lore, keep that era of mystery, right? But that's just towards the Backrooms ARG itself. The film, dude, with James Wan and Sean Levy at the helm, it could be good. It could be. They could strike gold again. Of all the James Wan films, Saw 1, Insidious, maybe 1 or 2, you can say, I'll give you both if you want, and then the first Conjuring. He's got 4 of how many movies that are actually good? The rest of them are either mediocre or bad. So it's like, and James Wan will probably have had more success than I ever will in this field. And I respect that. I understand that. But I just do not trust him with this.
The thing with horror is that it has to be polarizing to be good.
Yeah.
If it's something that's going to be universally accepted, it's going to be mid. You kind of have to force the audience to make moral quandaries.
Yes.
And
the best horror makes you fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
Has that unknown to where it's almost subjective. It's like, okay, yes, you have this maybe villain, you have this unknown, that is fact. But then it's like everything within. Like I think of Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse. You can watch that film, like 10 people can watch that film twice. And each time there will be 20 different reactions and 20 different endings to that film. The Lighthouse is a masterpiece.
I saw a tweet one time and it said the entire plot of The Lighthouse is 2 tops trying to figure out which one bottoms.
That's not a bad. That is not a bad synopsis.
I think it's kind of right. Like I think that Robert Eggers was kind of going for that a little bit.
I think they're the same person. Have I told you about that?
Yeah, they are.
I really think because they both have the same name. This is not the Lighthouse episode. That was actually the first episode I think we ever did.
That was one of the best episodes we've ever done.
Yeah, go back and watch that. On the Greater Than Network.
Spotify.
I might have to link that. But yeah, that was a great episode. But anyway, I do not trust James Wan and Sean Levy with this. I'm scared. Like I want this to be good because this has all the potential in the world to be fantastic. But also a part of me is like, leave it alone. Like what it is now is good.
You just know from doing this podcast with me that I highly dislike like studio big horror like that.
Yeah.
Like none of the movies really do it for me. I don't see them in the theater. Sometimes I'll watch them when they come on the streaming services, but franchise horror doesn't do it for me unless it's like the legacy slashers.
Yes.
The Halloween stuff and
the Friday the 13th, all that news. That's interesting.
I like that stuff just because it's based on real like cinematic masterpieces.
Yeah. And plus like that primitive primal thought of like if a big man with a machete and a hockey mask was chasing me, that's scary. Like
where's the strange experimental horror these days?
It's body horror. It's the David Cronenbergs and it's the Julia de Cronau's. That's where it's at. It's not even. And that's the thing. Body horror is such a niche.
What's the most recent de Cronau film?
Titan. That was 2 years. Gosh, 2 years ago.
Didn't see it.
You didn't see it?
Never
Titan is pretty good. So did you watch Raw?
Yes.
I
like Raw.
That's a trippy movie, but it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I really like Julia de Cronau. And I don't think she's ever going to get the props that she should as a horror director, because if she keeps this streak, because Titan was pretty good. Titan wasn't as scary, but it is definitely a body horror. Like it's the best way I can describe it without spoiling is that this she's not cybernetic, but this woman falls in love with a car. That is the most beat down, like down to earth, like I'm literally hammering the subject of the storyline to the earth to not spoil anything because it's very good, but it's just you gotta watch Titan, man.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I saw we're all going to the World's Fair. Have I mentioned that on the podcast? Yeah, I saw it a few months ago, and it's like an ARG horror movie. It's very liminal.
I love it.
It's very Zoomer. It's very.
What's it called?
We are all going to the World's Fair. I think the budget was like $15,000 or something, maybe like $30,000. It's about a girl playing an ARG, and the lines between is this a computer game or is this reality? Very blurred throughout the movie.
Yeah.
It's good. It's very good. Another horror film that I saw. Go on with something, and I'm gonna
Oh yeah. Well, I want to make one last point because you were talking about. Did you ever see Black Mirror Bandersnatch?
Yeah.
What I want more than anything, Netflix, HBO Max, Hulu. I don't care who.
More of the choose your own adventure stuff.
Do an ARG style with that kind of money, like Bandersnatch.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine that?
That'd be wonderful.
Like, for those of you that have seen Bandersnatch, you'll understand, like, why we say that. Like, pick your own, like, the multiple endings. Kind of creepy every now and then. But imagine if it was, like, if it was The Backrooms, or if it was, like, a...
Oh, yeah, that would make so much money, a Backrooms choose your own adventure.
One that's really creeping me out lately. What is it called? The Mandela Catalog? Have you seen that? That's a whole other rabbit hole, but that would be awesome as an ARG, or as like a Bandersnatch style ARG on a Netflix. But I'll go ahead and move on to the next one while you're looking for what you're looking for. So we're staying in the realm of
the Poughkeepsie tapes.
I've heard of this. I've heard that is a scary movie,
terrifying movie.
The
Yeah, it's
Poughkeepsie
one of the
tapes.
scarier movies I've ever seen. I don't want to spoil much, but it's about a set of videotapes that are found.
Is it kind of like VHS?
A little bit, yeah. It's a lot like VHS.
I like VHS.
I like VHS 94.
Yeah. See, I'm not caught up. I remember watching the first one. I was like 15 when I first saw it, and there was a scene where a man gets an appendage ripped off, and I was scarred for the next like month.
Yeah.
It was very good.
I like the rat. No, you haven't seen VHS 94.
No.
The rat. Hail Eratba. Oh gosh, I love that.
So I need to get back in. I need to get Shudder is what I need to do.
Yeah. It's on Shudder, I think.
That's where all the VHSs are. In fact, I think the latest VHS is a Shudder original. Like, they got the guy that made the originals, and they're like, we'll pay you to make this for our platform. I like Shudder a lot. Like, they've got some cool stuff on there.
You know, in terms of horror cinema, I've seen a smaller amount of the installations that you know that I would like to see. But in terms of anthology horror, I've seen most of the really popular stuff.
Yeah.
And I love VHS.
That's something I really want to. I've heard that as they go on, and this doesn't really happen. And my point in case is Hell House, but like the longer they go on, usually they suffer. It's like Hell House, the original Hell House that had a limited budget and it was just passion project. Fantastic, super scary, kind of a letdown at the end, but it's scary. The second and third Hell House progressively get worse because they get more funding, and you can tell they're like not in a bad way trying to be experimental, but it's like ugh. But VHS, in the exact same way as Hell House, has gotten more money into it and gotten more popular, and from what I've heard, has just gotten better.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Now
There's
VHS
one-
94 is great.
There's one in the original VHS, like one of the tapes that always freaks me out is a zombie apocalypse one, where it's the biker helmet, like the GoPro. That one was good.
That's terrifying.
That was a good
I haven't
one.
seen that one in a long time.
That's a good one. That's one of my favorite like first person like horror film. Like, and that one, like I always refer to that one when I think of first person horror. That or obviously Blair Witch, but like yeah. So but staying in the horror realm, this one's franchise, much bigger. Scream 6 will have the longest runtime in the slasher franchise's history with a 2-hour, 3-minute runtime. The film will also be the first in the franchise's history to be released in 3D and 4DX. I'm not going to lie. I've seen the first 2 Screams. My girlfriend loves Scream. Like, she thinks it's awesome. I haven't, like, I've not got into it like she has. I like the first 2. Matthew Lillard playing the original villain was awesome.
You just like that guy, don't you?
I like Matthew Lillard. I don't know why. He was a big part of my childhood as Shaggy, and then I figure out he's just a great actor on the side. Like, he was in Criminal Minds and fantastic in that. But I guess this is just my drool over Matthew Lillard episode. But I really want to get caught up because like it's almost like they rebooted the series with the last one with 5. Like, I want to say, like I didn't watch it, but obviously it stars Jenna Ortega, and they bring back a lot of the stars from the originals. So it's kind of a continuation. I need to rewatch them. I need to sit down and rewatch from the beginning all the way through, because I know like Scream like 3 and 4 were not very good, but 5.
When did they come out? Early
So-
2000s?
So 4 was made by, or I'm sorry, the first Scream. Do you know why Scream was originally made?
It's like it's kind of like Evil Dead 2 or Cabin in the Woods. It's a bit of a
It's a satire.
Yeah.
Wes Craven made it to poke fun at the slasher franchise, and like the original film I think it's Drew Barrymore is on the poster, and she's
And
in
then
the
she
first.
dies in
She
the first
dies,
5 minutes.
yeah, instantly. And
Legendary.
that was like the joke, like Wes Craven literally just kind of stabbed the backs of all audience goers, and it's hilarious. But then I fall out of Scream when it takes itself too seriously. Like it turns from being satirical because the first 1 and 2 are kind of funny. Then the third one gets really serious and takes itself more like a Halloween style, and I don't like that. So I doubt that it would revert back. But I've heard that 5 was all right. It was pretty good. And 6 is getting decent reviews already, so
Yeah, maybe it'll be good.
hopefully.
These movies, they only work if they don't rely on previous
Exactly.
installations.
They got to be a new story.
Brand new story. Maybe it'll be good.
There was something interesting that I saw in the trailer, and it was Ghostface in a subway cart, like in New York. In that confined space and so many people there, because I've heard stories of being on a subway where a woman gets like assaulted on a subway, and people see it and they just don't do anything. And it's just like the thought.
Leave her alone.
Yeah, like it's like.
Take your hands off the lady.
But it's like the thought of like that, because that is a legit thing. Like people will see something happening. I don't know. There's like a term for it, like psychologically, where you see something happen and you're just like,
the bystander effect.
yes,
right?
that's it. It's like someone else will do something. And so it's like, who's to say that people wouldn't do that for murder? Wouldn't just run away. So the thought of being in this tight, confined space, and then you see Ghostface with a kitchen knife walking toward you, scary, like that legit, like I saw that.
Would you have saved George Floyd?
Gosh, man. I mean, I would have hoped so if I were in that situation, because like the man, this is not a political show, I promise. And that was that's a curveball right there. I would like to say I would, like, because like, I mean, you don't want to catch like because obviously if you did, you would have caught a obstructing justice charge. But like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you got to throw that away and just be human, because the man was literally like choking to death, begging for his mother. So it's like,
I like to think I would have, but
yeah,
I doubt I would.
I hope so. I hope I would. I hope we both would.
Well,
We
the
both
people
go to jail.
around him didn't.
No, they didn't. They just
But
videoed.
they took video.
Yeah.
Which helps. But like,
Not really. I mean,
really.
that's kind of shallow, but that's
Yeah.
fine. I mean, we got the video proof of it, and those officers are no longer working. But that's hooray!
yeah,
Like, what's now? What? Like, he's still gone.
that's kind of a good, maybe a good like philosophical look at journalism.
Yeah.
Like, is documenting something?
More important than jumping into it, like
yeah.
to save it or help it.
Yeah. Journalists aren't superheroes. Like, they're not. That's not their role.
Yeah.
But still, like, it's like the guy that went to Africa and taking the picture of the little boy and there's the condor or the vulture or whatever. Like, pick him up, dude.
No, well, fun.
What did you eat for breakfast? Give him some of it.
Do you know what came out of that? Do you know what became of the photographer?
No.
He won, like, there's like, I don't know what kind of award, but it's like picture of the year. He killed himself.
Oh yeah.
He is no longer alive. He
Committed suicide. Huh?
Yes, he did, and because of that picture, from what I understand,
Because of the guilt.
he didn't intervene.
Yeah. And was the child eaten by the vulture?
I don't know. I don't think that he ever knew what happened, or I don't think anybody knows what happened to the poor child that he took the picture of. But yeah, that photographer is no longer alive.
It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, and that's a great like, not callback, but example, because he obviously felt the implications of not doing anything.
And I'm sure the backlash. Like, people are saying exactly what I say right now. It's almost a meme. It's like a cultural meme.
Yeah.
It's like, why did that guy not give the kid a sandwich?
Yeah. Man, that's tough.
Yeah.
And I guess
this is a cinema podcast, though.
I guess this ties back. Yeah, yeah. We talk movies. I guess,
Do we?
I guess.
Do we really?
What is the deeper meaning?
Yeah.
Well, what are we actually here for, Cole? No.
Still figuring that one out.
But yeah. But I guess kind of reverting back, like I saw that and that kind of scared me. And I guess the reason it scared me a little bit, and it's been a long time since I've watched like a franchise horror and been like, whoa, like that's freaky. Or at least that's like primally scary. And it's because of everything that you just said. It's like, just like with all the examples we pulled up, what if no one's helping? Like, there's all these people around me, but I'm just as alone as I am as if I was in my house by myself with this man. And that I don't like that. And I think that captured, the fact that the trailer captured that makes me have high hopes for the film.
In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins is about him watching a man drown. I think it's in like the Potomac River, and he did not intervene. He didn't save him.
Is that based off a true story?
Yeah.
Like he really did that?
Like Phil Collins, yeah. I think Phil Collins watched a man drown. Pretty sure. I mean, it might be a myth or an urban legend or whatever.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's about.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
And he wrote a song about it.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna capitalize upon this.
Dude,
Didn't say this guy.
oh, there's some.
Time to get rich.
He did it for passion. He didn't do it for money, but he made money off it, which is so. He's like, oh my gosh,
I could save this guy.
I'm gonna write a song about it instead.
Yeah.
Like, that's so,
he just did it for the bag, dude.
what is society, man? Like, what are we doing right
Kids
now?
will thank me when they hear this banger on the radio.
They'll never see you again, but they will be absolutely.
They'll be
loving.
dancing.
No, that's as bad. You know what that it makes me think of the George Bush. He's like on the golf course and he's like, "We must stop the war on terror." And he stops for a second. He looks over and he goes, "Now watch it drive." That's what Phil Collins is like. I must save this man from drowning, but listen to this bop. And it's just and he just that's so bad. But that's what it makes me think of, bro. Like, what are you doing, Phil? Like, come on, like.
But then the Tarzan soundtrack came out. Oh, it's hot!
I wanna know. Can you show me? It's so good, man. I hate that it's great because I know this, but yes, Phil Collins, bangers, nothing but bangers. The doo 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 doo. I can feel it coming in the air. This is once again a film podcast.
No, it's a song.
We're gonna get
This is an audio,
bro. If we ever pop off, we're gonna get made fun of the whole time because we're like, I want to listen to film, and it's just me and you singing in the air tonight.
What else would you like to sing?
Oh, I don't know. Name a song. If I know it, I'll sing it.
In the Big Rock Candy Mountain, the jails are made of tin.
I know that song. I don't know the lyrics.
You can walk right out of them as soon as you are in.
Okay, we're slowly running out of time. We've been going 40 minutes, so let me get through these.
Sorry, friends.
No, it's okay. J.J. Abrams and Leo DiCaprio set to adapt the Stephen King novel Billy Summers.
Oh, wow, it's new.
Yeah.
Just came out.
I thought you would enjoy that because I know you're an avid King reader.
Yeah, they still got that one in the Walmart circuit.
I want to read, I think King's newest novel is, what's it called? I've seen it in Walmart a lot. And it's like fantasy.
Oh, yeah, what is that one?
It looks interesting.
The last King novel I got was The Institute, and I'm not done with it. I kind of read like 3 and 4 books at a time.
Fairy Tale. It's literally called Fairy Tale.
Fairy Tale?
I read
Yeah,
the
I've heard
back
of
and it
that.
seems really good. It's not so much scary.
He did Eyes of the Dragon in the 80s. That was his first fantasy, and then he started to do the gunslinger
Never
stuff.
would have thought. Like, I know he does like fantastical stuff, like obviously like the Green Mile, but like
Well, the Dark Tower series is one of the most
that is true too.
beloved fantasy series ever.
I need to get into Stephen King.
Yeah, you really do. I read The Gunslinger. I've not read any more of the Dark Tower books, but I'd like to.
Yeah.
Because, like, when you are a Stephen King fan, like an avid reader, it's like you read the horror stuff, and then it's like, okay, time to read the Dark Tower series. And I will eventually. I just haven't yet.
Yeah. So I'm going to run through some Disney stuff real quick. Then we're going to move on to the big stuff. Ant-Man 4 is reportedly already being discussed.
Well, I've seen mixed reviews. The pacing is off, but they say in terms of tone and look, it's a lot like Star Wars, 1977.
Yeah.
Universally praised performance by Jonathan Majors as Kang.
Yeah.
People like it's Kang's franchise now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, I don't doubt. I love Paul Rudd. I love Jonathan Majors. We've talked about that. I just don't. I cannot get myself to get back into Marvel after She-Hulk.
Not even Quantumania, though.
I don't
It just doesn't
know.
make me.
I'm going to watch it.
I don't understand.
I'm going to watch it.
I'm so excited for this movie.
Like, I'm going to watch it. But it's just like Marvel has ruined themselves for me because they don't take themselves like they're too haha joke haha, and I'm just like, show me the fight, man. Like show me the story. Give me the nitty gritty. Why are you doing this? Like.
Well, they say this is the most mature installation in the franchise so far.
I hope so.
It takes a bit of a darker thematic tone.
If it does, I'll be excited. So I'm gonna watch it. Yeah. So anyway, last thing in Disney, and then we're moving on to the big stuff. Disney announced earlier this week Zootopia 2, Frozen 3, and most notably and unfortunately, Toy Story 5. Toy Story 5 with Tim Allen also confirming it on Twitter, talking about To Infinity and Beyond, and Woody and Buzz will both be in it.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks hasn't said anything, but Tim Allen has. Why? Like, Zootopia 2, sure. I think it's good enough as one, but I'm okay with it being a second.
Well, Zootopia it kind of had the opposite effect than Disney. Like, it's a kid's movie, but it was not received as a kid's movie.
No, it's not.
The weirdos got a hold of it.
Yeah, they did.
So
I like as a film, I like Zootopia.
I watched it in like class when I was in high school.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's good. Like, I think it's good social commentary. Like, it doesn't try too hard to be political because it's really not.
It's about inclusion, right?
Yeah. I saw a lot of people when that first came out. They're like, it's all too political, and I watch it. And I'm like, it's not political. Like, it's just you can be social commentary, like have social commentary without being political. Like, you can have one and not the other. Yeah. It's a very tight line, but you can do it. And I think Zootopia did it well.
I just don't understand. People really misconstrue the word political. Like, if something is speaking on like a social issue or like human rights, they're like, this is so political, dude. It's like, it's not about politics.
It's really not.
Like, what are you talking about? It's just it's a theme, bro. Like, you ever read a fable?
Yeah.
Or you ever read a story?
Like, you could, like, I don't know. I just hate that
Morals?
you can't make comment about anything anymore because, like, I get people will always disagree, but it's like people get
trying to brainwash me.
People get hurt. Like,
Yeah.
why are you getting hurt for me stating my opinion in this art form?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Like, if you don't like it, don't watch it.
People are scared of anything that's not void of any like stance. Like, you have to take a stance on things in art.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really do, because art has to be controversial.
Yeah, it's got to say something.
Yeah, and you can say the right thing. You can be morally correct,
Well, it
and
doesn't
it
have
still
to
be
say something, but yeah.
it still be controversial. Like, you don't have to be saying offensive things for it to be controversial.
Right.
A lot of times, the right thing is the controversial thing.
Yeah.
Like putting a gay kiss in a kids movie. You know, that to me is like, I mean, I don't want
Beauty and the Beast did that with the live action remake.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I think it's, these little gay kids see that and they're like, yeah, I'm represented in this.
Yeah.
And it's like that is the morally, to me, correct thing to do, and it's going to be the most controversial thing. I mean,
And it's not even like, it is kind of for the kids that are questioning, but it's more also like the adults. Because here's the thing: how do you make like for these people fighting for inclusivity? How do you make it normal to where the fight is won? You make it normal. You make because like it's in reality that is just normal stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like hush hush, no one wants to talk about it.
They say, oh, it's brainwashing and stuff.
It's
and it's
not.
like, think about every Disney movie that comes out. Like, since the 30s when Snow White came out, at the end of the movie, they make out.
Yeah.
They sit there and make out.
And it's just normal.
Yeah, because it's romance.
Yeah.
And like, you show little girls, especially, see these romantic princess movies and stuff. And it's like, bro, they like make out at the end, you know?
But romance is only tailored to the heterosexual relationship.
Exactly.
You forget, Cole, that like we live in a society where romance isn't universal. It's just something that has very tailored guidelines. Yeah. If you can't sense my sarcasm, I'm sorry, but I'm being very sarcastic because this point, I agree with you. It's very agitating.
It is.
As two straight men, it's not like we're like being directly affected by it, but like as we have people in our lives who it does affect, and to watch them be affected by it, it's annoying. It's like very like why is it not just like, why is it this way? It's kind of what you
Can it
ask.
just be normalized and people
like why
get over it?
Get over it. Who's this hurting that people are just themselves?
They see, oh,
You pull it, no. Yeah, it's just the end of the world because we showed reality. Oh. All right. Well, now that I guess we are kind of a political talk show, aren't we?
A bit of one.
Maybe a little bit. Please don't hate us, conservative.
About halfway through the episode, I always gotta like remind y'all that I'm down with gay people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, halfway through the show today, you were like, George Floyd!
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, sure, here we go.
It's interesting, though. I mean,
it is interesting.
I wouldn't... I
And
mean,
it
if
does
I was in that scenario,
Yeah.
it's bad. Like, so many people are so affected by this issue, I feel like it's really bad to talk about this.
Here's the thing, too. If you're upset that we're bringing this stuff up, art often commentates on real-life scenarios, so it does connect. Like, you look at any art in any time any piece of history, and more often than not, it's going to be reflective of what's going on in that time. So that's why we talk about it, because everyday events, the politics, if you want to call it that, are just as important as the art that's coming out that we're discussing. Because art, or film, is an art form. And those that disagree and don't see it that way, why are you watching this, I guess?
I just don't know how the line ever got blurred there. Like, people say, like, these aren't art forms.
Well, it's so like, people took cinema, I guess at some point cinema became something that, oh, that's a fairy tale land, and it really must escape everything that is reality, and it can never converge, or else I'm going to be upset because it doesn't completely agree with my point. I think that's where cinema went. It turned into, think about even like taxi drivers and like all like the mobs and stuff. Like, oh, I can escape to this world where that is cool. I can escape to this world where Iron Man is a thing. And if they talk about anything in reality when I'm in this 2-hour setting of not being real, I'm going to be pissed about it.
Well, that means that it's entertainment rather than art.
Which I think is false.
Yeah.
Like, it is entertainment, but it's art first.
Yeah. Art first, entertainment second.
Yeah. So I think it's time to move on. We have a couple minutes left, and we got, I'm going to say two major things to talk about, one kind of comment I'm going to make. So I said earlier I'd bring up Wendigoon again, and here it is, okay? So last week we talked about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie that's coming out, and I don't know if I said this last week because I think it broke after that, but there is now confirmed to be 3 movies coming out. It's a trilogy, probably going to be more. Matthew Lillard said, I don't remember where he said, but he announced that he signed a 3-movie deal to play the titular villain William Afton in the films. And so I see this, and I was very curious. The first one just began filming with Blumhouse Productions in New Orleans. But I saw this breaking last week, and I really wanted to get to know the lore, because I knew the lore was expansive. I knew it was highly contested by multiple different factions of the fan base, but I at least thought there was a straight line of like storyline. No. The answer is there are very few points that are like obviously very like they happen in every version of the story. But there are 6-7 games now. Each of them kind of give like a different, like not a different, but like a new kind of context, and everyone takes it differently. So I watched Wendigoon's breakdown of it, which is about a year old, and there was a game that came out post that called Security Breach. So now I don't know if that's the 7th game. I don't know if that's just a major offshoot. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a big Five Nights at Freddy's guy. But I'm going to ask a question after, but I want to quickly give some basic lore about like things that we know and things that Wendigoon himself kind of assumed. So in the original story, we have 2 people. Technically, the Five Nights at Freddy's storyline follows 2 individuals, mainly. A guy named William Afton, who I've discussed, and a man named Henry Emily. These 2 were business partners, and they went in together on this place that they named Fredbear's Family Diner in the 70s, like late 70s, early 80s. Fredbear's Family Diner. That's the very first store. And I'm not going to go into what all the stores named, because there were like offshoots, and it became Fazbear Entertainment. It became this huge, huge enterprise. Think Chuck E. Cheese. But each location has like a different name and the different animatronics and all that stuff. And I'm not going to go into all that. I'm going to go into a little bit of it, but not all of it. So I think what's also important to list here in my very quick rendition is that each of these individuals have children. William has 3 kids, Elizabeth, Michael, and the youngest son, Evan. And when I say everything is contested, even the youngest child being named Evan is contested. The way that they found that was there's a book called The Survival Guide, and there are numbers placed sporadically throughout, and they took that to like a codex kind of thing in the book, and they followed the numbers that corresponded with the letters, and they got the name Evan. And that is even contested, whether the kid's name is Evan or not. So it's very convoluted. Because there's no one, like the creator, I think his name's Scott. No one has come forth and said this is the true whatever. Everyone's just picking apart and finding the details that were laid throughout the games. And everyone's kind of creating their own version of events, with everyone having the same like rough timeline, but super different offshoots. So anyway, Henry Emily has a little girl named Charlie. So what happens, Henry is like the business side of it, and William is like the day-to-day operations. He's more interested in these animatronics. Think, like I said, Chuck E. Cheese. They have these animatronic / suits. They can get into them. So like the suits open up, you turn off the animatronic mode, you get into them, and you can act them out, like wear the suit. So long story short, William knew that these suits, they're called spring lock suits. So like when you turn off the animatronic part of it, the spring locks or the animatronic pieces literally kind of flap out. You don't see that, but like so that you can come in.
I know what that is.
Yes. So like, and the whole point is that like if they get old or wet, they can like spring back and while you're inside, and it will kill you. Like that's a thing that can happen. But William knew that these were dangerous, and he would always he's tried to scare his youngest child, Evan, to get away from it. He's like, no, do not go near this whatever. And Evan was genuinely scared of these animatronics. His older brother Michael knew this and would torture him about it. Like would wear like one of the mask from the store. Like it wasn't like an actual animatronic, but it was a mask based around that. And he would scare the young kid. But eventually in 1983, they go into the Fazbear or the pizzeria place. And Michael and his friends, while the Freddy animatronic was in animatronic mode, they take him and they put this kid, his head in the mouth of this animatronic, and it bites down and it kills him. So Evan, the youngest boy, dies. Okay.
The bite of 83.
That's the bite of 83. The big one is the bite of 87. And that's different. People, I've noticed, even myself, confuse this death with the bite of 87, but they're different. And I did not know this until I watched this through. So Evan dies because he's killed by Fredbear. But what happens is somehow his soul gets trapped in the Freddy suit. Evan cannot control Freddy because he's not in like suit mode, but he is inside the suit. And William figures this out. Somehow, there's not ever stated, but he figures out that his youngest son, guilt-ridden, that his own creation killed his youngest child. He figures out that his soul is in the suit. So fast forward, I don't know when this happens, but fast forward a little bit later, he creates a sister location. And the whole point, I think this animatronic that it's based around is Doll Baby? I don't remember exactly what it's called. But the whole point is that his daughter, Elizabeth, is obsessed with this puppet, this doll. And I cannot remember what it's called, to save my life, and it's going to agitate me to death. But the whole point of this doll, William being obsessed with the fact that his son is now in one of the other animatronics, the whole point of this animatronic was that it would lure a kid in, its chest would open up, a hand would, like a claw would grab the kid, pull it into its chest cavity, and it would die. It would kill the kid.
What's it do with the body?
It just keeps it. The whole point is the soul. The body's irrelevant. William wants to see if he can recreate what happened with his youngest son, Evan. For whatever reason, William goes mad.
That's what I'd try to do.
Well,
I'd say let's get him a friend.
It's not even that. William's just messed up. So William inadvertently kills his second of 3 kids, Elizabeth, and she gets trapped in Doll Baby, whatever her name is. So then that happens. Michael knows this is happening and freaks out. So Wendigoon surmises that Henry sees all this happening and figures out what William is doing and fires him from the company, okay? This sends William into a frenzy, okay? He goes completely insane at this point. So incoming the bite of 87, what led up to that, okay? And I'll tell you the order of the games because the games are not in chronological order at all. So during the bite of 87, the lead up to that was that William would dress up as a police or like a security guard from Fazbear Entertainment. It was a purple suit, very definitive purple suit. He would put it on and he would kidnap and kill children. The first of which was Henry Emily's child, Charlie. Now, this is all surmised from Wendigoon. This is not facts, but this is like what was presented. So Henry's child is dead, the first victim of William Afton. Charlie was protected by a puppet, or it's called the marionette / the puppet, but it was another animatronic made by Henry to protect this young child. And it's so sad because the way that it happens is Charlie gets trapped outside of Fazbear, like the building, and the puppet can't get to her, and she's killed. And the puppet walks up beside her and lays down as she's dying in an alleyway, and just lays there until she's dead. And then the soul of Charlie takes the puppet. And then the puppet's kind of like a guidance of the other children that are murdered by William. So, and there are like 5 of them. I'm not going to go into that because that's way too much. But there are 5 kids that William leads into Fazbear Entertainment, kills, and stuffs inside of an animatronic. And then the marionette connects their souls to the dolls. Now, you might be asking, because the big thing is that in the games you play as a security guard, and the puppets are coming, or the animatronics are coming after you to kill you. You might be asking why.
Do they play music?
A little bit, yeah. The animatronics are possessed by the souls of these murdered children, who the last thing they remember is a man in a purple security suit killing them.
And the security guard's in the same suit?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why, I didn't know this. This was not something I knew. But that is why throughout the games, you are a security guard, and these animatronics come awake at night and try to kill you, is because you're wearing the same like designated official suit that William Afton was wearing when he killed these kids. So these kids essentially think you're their murderer. So it's like they're not the villain. Like that is like I think the biggest point of the story is that these are not villains. They are trying to defend themselves. They think that you are there to hurt them. You know what I mean? Like they are murderous in their intent. But so anyway, the whole point, the Bite of 87 is the security guard that you play as in the second game gets his frontal lobe ripped out by a bite from one of these animatronics, i.e. these children trying to attack this person in a suit similar to the guy that killed them.
This was in 87.
This was in 87. And so the first game takes place in 1993. And what's interesting is that, remember, William has one son left who is trying to find answers to what happened. Wendigoon surmises that a bunch of the security guards that you play as throughout these games is Michael Afton, the son of William Afton, trying to find answers to it. And so I could go on and on and on, but I'm going to stop here because you should just watch the video. Because Wendigoon goes in depth, like really goes in to try to figure out what happened. And it is fantastic. William Afton does end up dying and taking his own suit because of spring lock malfunction. And there's so much deeper like storyline that could be. But the reason I bring all this up, and I want to ask you, because now you know what I know, at least for the most part. How is Blumhouse going to tell this story?
They won't.
You think they screw it up?
No, it'll be, first day on the job. I hope all these, it'll be like the first game.
You think
like
so?
It'll be just the first game. They won't do the lore.
See,
no chance.
What I kind of hope happens is kind of what you're saying, though. I want the movies to be like the games, to where it's like, piece it together yourself. Like, obviously there's a storyline, but it's like not in chronological order. Like, it's confusing. Like I want this. And like, while I do want it to give a little bit more definitive answers, because like the games just do not give you anything. The games are just a hodgepodge of memories in wrong places. Like, so the games themselves,
documents and things that you see.
Kind of, yeah. But like more like there are like mini games between the nights, and you play as unspecified characters. And that's how we know some of the things, because like if you play as a purple guy, you're probably William Afton. That's just surmised, but like it's never stated. But the games go, Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is in 1983. That's the first game. That's the one where you supposedly play as Evan Afton, the youngest child that gets his head bit in and dies. Then you're the second one. That's the one where the Bite of 87 happens, is in 2. Then the first game, where where it is surmised that you are Michael Afton with a false name as a security guard in a Five Nights at Freddy or a Freddy Fazbear location,
trying to figure it out.
Yes, and then it goes sister location, and then 3, and then 6. So like the games are nowhere near in order, and I kind of want. And here's the thing too, I was really curious as to why they hired Josh Hutcherson as the security guard, Mike Smith, who is theoretically surmised to be Michael Afton. And I wondered, like, why do you put a big name if he just dies? Because I don't remember the end of the first game, because like it doesn't say whether or not the character you play as dies or not. So I was like, why would you pay all that money to get this major time actor to play this random character? And it makes so much more sense with this, because he comes back. Like, this character is vital to the story. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, obviously you bring in like Matthew Lillard because William Afton's always there. He pops up all the time. But you bring in Hutcherson because you think he's going to come back too, like under a different name as Michael Afton, to try to figure out what's happening.
I just don't know if it'll follow any of this, any of the lore.
I think it should.
It should.
It really
For
should.
Sure. Yeah.
But see, that's what's tough, is that all of it's super subjective. Everything I just told you is surmised.
Are the creators of the game going to have a big role?
I don't know.
In the film?
I hope so.
It's A24, right? That's Blumhouse.
No, it's Blumhouse.
Not A24. They wouldn't make no Five Nights at Freddy's get.
They are making. Listen. They've shocked me. A24 is making the Backrooms one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're running real low on time, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on.
Five Nights at Freddy's. I'll watch the video. I mean, I've always had a general idea about these things.
Yeah. I
just didn't know the specifics. But I always knew it was like a multi-generational sort of strange, still a mystery to most people. I mean, it's not, there's no specific confirmed lore.
I'm just worried that they're gonna really modernize it and make it one straight line story that's not scary, and it's too on the nose, too straight, too much like William Afton murders children. I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be like, obviously he does, but I don't want them to say it.
Well, maybe they could have one set in the 2000s or the 2010s that, doesn't really go with this lore, but is, doesn't mess with this lore, but it kind of creates a whole new
I would like that too.
Yeah.
I just don't want it to be like, please don't make it Megan. Like, that's my biggest worry. Moving on. Quick point. The Last of Us, the 4th episode, had another big jump in viewership. It jumps another 17% to go from 6.4 million in episode 3 to 7.5 in episode 4. I don't know how they're going to keep doing it. They've moved back the 5th episode release to tonight, because the Super Bowl is Sunday. So I don't know how they're going to keep doing it. I'm not going to go into any more specifics. I'm just fascinated by the fact that the show keeps doing well and it keeps growing in viewership.
What about ratings on this latest episode?
I mean, it's just as good as the others. I mean, it just keeps getting better. Like it's not. I don't think 4 was as good as 3, but 4 is essentially a part 1 to 5, to episode 5, I should say. So
I see.
It leaves it on a cliffhanger. The story is not done. Like not that the story's changed, but like it's obviously different parts of So the big thing I want to get into, and we've got just a couple minutes to do it. AMC theaters.
Oh yeah, they're charging by seat now. It's like whatever seat that you sit in is going to have a different charge.
Unfortunately. So I'm never going to AMC again. I hate this. So the way that they're doing it is by the end of this year, the ticket prices will be on 3 different tiers, with the middle seats being the most cost effective. So it's like the better eye line will give you the better.
Well, I prefer to sit in the back anyway.
That's still going to be higher.
Yeah.
It's like the middle up is like the worst. And
you don't want to sit in the front.
No. Lord of the Rings star Elijah Wood tweeted a very accurate, reason why people are mad at this. And he said, quote, "The movie theater is and always has been a sacred democratic space for all, and this new initiative by AMC would potentially penalize people with lower income." I think he's accurate.
That is right.
I understand AMC's not trying to do that. From a capitalistic standpoint, they're trying to make the most out of their money, because they went bankrupt. They almost went bankrupt a few years ago. I get it. I understand what they're trying to do, but this is horrible. This is borderline. I don't want to say inhumane. I don't want to over dramatize what this is doing, because it's not like it's the end of the world, but it's just wrong.
It's wrong.
It's now you can't have the same experience because you don't make as much money. I'm not going to a theater to pay $13 to sit just so I could sit and watch the movie.
The fact that I love the movies is because it's cheap. It doesn't
Yeah.
cost anything to go. It's like $8.
It's the atmosphere. You don't have to break the bank to go unless you want to buy a bunch of popcorn.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful experience that everyone can share because they're all spending the same amount. And now
It's democratic, man.
if I want to have the best experience I can, I need to shell out $25 for my seat in the top middle.
Because everyone's going to do that anyway.
I don't think so, just because of the hate. But on the flip side, there is just as much an opportunity that Cinemark does that too, where I go.
Yeah, I go to Cinemark.
It would break my heart.
Big Cinemark guy. I love Cinemark.
Cinemark's a great experience.
Yeah.
I will say, the Nuvi previews with Maria Menounos, they need to get someone new to
I
do
see
that.
her, Maria Menounos, teaching me how to tie my damn shoes when I'm trying to pump my gas at the gas station.
They need to get a new her laugh freaks me out. I don't know. Nuvi, get us to do this. Do anything else but her. So she's she'll ask a question and the person won't know. So she does these before the film preview, before even the previews. She does these quick quizzes with these borderline famous people that I've never heard of but have some sort of following. And she'll be like, "What movie was this one?" And she'll ask a question and the person won't know, and she'll be like, and she's like, it's the worst evil weird laugh. It's borderline Green Goblin-esque.
You know about her at the gas station, right?
Yes, she's also the.
When did that happen?
What is it? Shell or is it?
Yeah, Shell.
Yeah, she's.
But it was at another one too.
I think it's just Shell. It's like a gas station channel now, because that's a big thing now.
That's so stupid.
Yeah.
I do not want to have someone telling me life tips.
Yeah.
Life tips with Maria Menounos while you're pumping your gas.
Yeah.
They're trying to get you to pump gas for longer.
Yeah, I know.
That's what it is.
Yeah, spend more money.
What I do is I wait tables. I live on cash, right? So I go into the gas station and give them $20 and say $20 on pump 5. and then when it's done, it's done. But if you put your card in there, you can just let it go. So they try to get you. See, it's stupid though.
Yeah.
Well, they got a hot girl doing it.
See, I always like I'm bad to just like I'll let my tank go down. I drive a Camry, so like I don't have to fill up. I'm never out of Richmond, so I don't have to fill up very often. So when I fill up, I do just fill full. So I don't even watch the daggone screen. I just sit in my car. Like I'll have the door open and I'll be hanging out so I can look and make sure everything's rolling right. But I click that thing and let it pump itself, and I just sit hanging out my car door just looking, and then I just go. But for like people like that, it's like that is sleazy.
But they could get something that's more engaging.
If they really want to do that,
yeah. Like Life Tips, it's about like, oh, you can turn a flower pot upside down and use it to hold your credit cards. Or
movie
something
previews.
Stupid.
Throw
Movie
trailers.
previews, yeah, that's great.
Throw
Trailers. A 3-minute trailer.
Bro, I would watch that. I'd sit and be like, ooh, what? Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. You know, I would totally sit and watch that.
Yeah, that's smart. Maybe we could pitch that.
Yeah.
That's
gas station companies.
Yeah. Me and Ryan are going to start a gas company.
Yeah. Screw you, Shell.
Yeah.
Don't sue us.
I mean,
well, that's the end of the show. Cole, any final words?
Clandestine.
Great word. I've got one. Pumpernickel.
Orangutan.
And just like that, this has been another episode of Beyond the Screen. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you guys next week.
Good time was had by all.